Just what an absolute embarrassment that was. Just utterly disappointing from the Lions today. Just when the Lions were becoming fun to watch and had everything trending on the right foot, they go out and shit the bed on national television on a holiday. On one of the biggest holidays in the country. Just, yeah, no matter what the Lions do, they still can't seem to figure out how to get it done on Thanksgiving, on the tradition. Just absolutely embarrassing. Like, I'll be honest for this game was not on Aaron Glenn. Even though Glenn did have some issues for sure, we'll talk about that. Like, if anything, this game was mainly on the offense. You know, Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, and... not really Jared Goff, to be honest, though. More the O-line, but Goff didn't really help either. And Ben Johnson, because the O-line played like shit. Like, Goff could not get really much any pressure. You know, just the 3 fumbles. You know, just Detroit mainly lost because, you know, they didn't get it. They didn't even generate any turnovers. The Lions defense could have generated any turnovers. Like, for the Lions, for everyone saying that Aaron Glenn isn't getting pressure to QB or anything, actually, he's sending guys after the QB. The problem is the guys we have on the D-line are not fucking executing and getting the job done and getting to the QB. Because Jordan Love, good God, throughout the GIS game, especially in the first half, Jordan Love had all fucking day to throw the ball to. Like, I think we all knew this game was going to be a lot different in week 4 after the first play when Green Bay showed how aggressive they were. When Love hit that 53-yard bomb to Christian Watson, it's like, oh, fuck. Like, literally, the Lions defense just went out there and made Jordan Love look like the second coming of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Jesus Christ. Why is it that this Lions defense always makes mid-fucking quarterbacks always look good? God damn it. Like, honestly, the Lions should have won this game, obviously. I mean, you should be able to win this game when you enter a 7.5-point favorite. But once again, the issue that's plagued the Lions the last 4 weeks, ever since that blowout game loss to the Ravens, has came up again. Where once again, the Lions playing down to their competition and made this game more competitive than it should have been to begin with. Fucking hell again. Like, the Lions were able to get lucky the last couple weeks. But this week against Green Bay, I did say after the Chicago game, Detroit cannot play the same way they played against the Bears. Because if they do it against Green Bay, it would not end the same way, and it did not end. Like, Detroit needs to realize, not every fucking team in this division is the Chicago Bears. Still frustrating, though, nonetheless, because the Lions 100% played down to an inferior opponent in Green Bay. And the Lions' luck ran out in this game. Just, yeah, a lot of things went wrong in this game. Like, defense could not get any pressure, couldn't even generate a turnover. Just, you know, just looked pretty bad. Like, guys are just not doing their assignments. Aaron Glenn having the bad coverage scheme of zone coverage, it's like, no. Like, zone coverage does not fucking work when you're not getting any pressure to the quarterback, when your D-line is not executing. Like, when your D-line's not executing, you're going to get torched in zone coverage. Honestly, if you're obviously seeing that, then you need to go to man coverage. Like, the Lions defense needs to go to man coverage until they start getting pressure to the QB. Once they can start doing that consistently and containing the mobile QBs, then maybe go back to zone defense. But right now, they need to go back to man coverage. And then the offense was just completely abysmal this whole game. Like, Goff was not 100% to blame. Like, he just had a lot of pressure throughout this game because the O-line had a fucking meltdown today. After the O-line played so good all year, and now all of a sudden they've gone completely backwards. I don't know. Part of it, I mean, some will say it's because Jonah Jackson is out and Kelly Pouliot Vitae are out. But at the end of the day, but Graham Glasgow's done a good job, though. Like, at the end of the day, you know, at this point of the year, it's already a little too late to blame injuries on it. Like, at this point, you got what you got. It's next man has to step up or step aside. And on the O-line today, nobody stepped up to the plate. And yeah, Goff got burned. I mean, 6 of Green Bay's 29 points came off one of the fumbles that was recovered for a touchdown. And then Goff had 2 more fumbles. And then you had Ben Johnson's play calling, which Ben Johnson's play calling in this game was fucking trash. He was fucking horrible. It's like, why does Ben Johnson constantly keep playing fuck around and find out? When is this motherfucker going to learn that playing fuck around and find out never fucking works? It never ends well. Every time you play fuck around and find out, you will lose every fucking time. And obviously from the Raiders game, Ben Johnson has learned absolutely nothing from playing fuck around and find out. And today, he really fucked around and he really found out today. And then you have Dan Campbell in this game. And listen, I've defended Dan Campbell on a number of fourth times to go for it. There are some where I was like, okay, maybe he should have gone that way, but I can at least understand from that point. But the one fourth down, like at least at least half of them, at least there was a situation where it's like, well, the Lions had to go for it. They had no choice. Others where it's like, okay, honestly, just take the damn points. But really start the second half faking a punt on your own 23. It's like, what the hell was that? Why the hell would you fake a punt on your own 23 to start the second half? After the offense just scored on the opening drive and the defense finally got a stop on Love. And the defense isn't 100% to blame for this game because the defense did make adjustments the second half of the year. I mean, part of that, though, was because of Green Bay, playing prevent and just being conservative and trying to kill the clock the entire second half, but good God. Like, the only points Green Bay scored were off of the fucking failed fake punt. And I know everyone's saying, but that play worked before. Here's the thing, that was last year. That's different this year. Everyone now knows how to defend that play. And wouldn't you know it, a few plays later, after the Lions got terrible field position for the defense, Green Bay scores their only points in the second half, which put the game out of reach. Like, just so many bad decisions made in this game. Failing to utilize JMO. Like, you drafted the motherfucker 12 for a reason. Fucking use him, goddammit. Like, just the play calling was horrendous. Dan Campbell made some pretty bad decisions today, especially that fake punt. That fake punt was fucking stupid and dumb. And even if the Lions did convert it, I would still say it's stupid and dumb. Like, honestly, just punt the ball away and hope your defense can stop them on the other side of the fucking field. And give the offense better field position instead of putting your defense in the worst fucking positions to succeed. Like, good God. Just, an utter fucking disappointing game, And for everyone saying that the Lions need to bench Goff, stop right there. That's not going to help the problem. That's just going to create more problems. Because Hendon Hooker isn't 100%, and Teddy Bridgewater ain't it. He doesn't move the needle. I mean, for the defensive line pressure, I mean, it's obvious that Aid Hutchinson can't do it on his own when he's getting double and triple teamed and getting held every fucking play. Like, the Lions need another guy on the other side of it. And no, that answer is not fucking Bruce Irvin. I think they need to go get that Darius Leonard linebacker that the Colts just cut. Like, the Lions need to do something on this defense. Like, they cannot constantly keep sitting back and being complacent with what they got. I mean, they were complacent with not getting a pass rusher in the draft, and they didn't get one at the trade deadline. Like, part of this falls on Brad Holmes for not addressing the pass rushing problem at the deadline when that was the clear big issue the Lions needed. And they chose to sit back and be complacent, which just shows that they were just happy to have a division lead. But yeah, I mean, if they're not going to address it this year, then they have to 100% address it in the offseason. But just an absolute fucking disappointing game. A game the Lions should have easily won. Like, easily, this was their best shot to win a Thanksgiving game since, 2015, 2016? And the Lions completely blew it. They choked it away. A game the Lions should have fucking won, and they played down to Green Bay so hard to where they fucking blew it. And now you just gave the Packers life to keep their Packers season alive. Because now if Seattle loses to San Francisco tonight, which will probably happen, Green Bay now sits a game out of the wild card race. And now potentially you not only gave the Packers life, because now Green Bay's only 3 games out from the Lions in the division, but you probably just gave the Minnesota Vikings life. Especially with how the Packers and Vikings schedules look the rest of the season, Like, the Packers got a pretty easy slate the rest of the year. Like, the only real challenging games the Packers have left is one game against the Vikings at US Bank in Minnesota, and the game against Kansas City next week. Well, Minnesota has it pretty easy until the Green Bay game, and then both games against Detroit. While Detroit's schedule's kind of starting to get a little tough, because next week you got the Saints, and the Saints are trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. I mean, Chicago, you should win, but you played down to the Bears a couple weeks last week. Like, I'll be honest, that game against the Bears, that game could have easily been excused if the Lions did their fucking job against the Packers today. But today, they did not do their job, so now, that game really adds some concern. But I say it's that with this, though, this means that next week against the Saints, it's must win to keep it alive. Because if the Lions lose that game to the Saints, then I think that will be definitely the time to hit the panic button. I will not say hit the panic button just yet. But if they lose next week to the Saints, then I'd say definitely hit the panic button. I mean, you got the Bears and you got the Broncos who are trying to stay alive in that dogfight of the AFC wildcard race. And then you got the 2 games against Minnesota. And then you got Dallas, and Dallas is going to be a tough game for sure, depending on what version of Dak you get. But yeah, like, definitely this game shows one thing. If the Lions want to win the North this year, then they actually have to fucking do their job instead of playing down. Like, the Lions have begun lucky thinking that they can just win with all the flaws they have on their roster. And today, their luck finally caught up to them. Just, yeah, to be honest, the Lions have been playing down to their competition ever since the Ravens game. Because the game against the Raiders, they should have blown the Raiders out on Monday Night Football, but played down to the Raiders. Don't let that 12-point margin of victory fool anybody. Lions fucking played down to the Raiders. They should have won by at least 25, 30 points against the Raiders. The game against the Chargers, I know it's really tough to say they played down to them or not. Just the Chargers matched up well with them. Just a matchup thing. But, you know, the Lions had a double-digit lead, and they kind of let the Chargers back in it because they couldn't stop the Chargers when it mattered. I mean, just a lot of things to add up, you know. It's just some bad decisions by the coaching staff in this game. Defense not getting any pressure to love, and not forcing any turnovers, and then a lot of bad O-line play for the Lions. Just, you know, nothing went right in this game. From offense to defense to coaching, everything went wrong. And they lost the winnable game on Thanksgiving against an inferior Green Bay team. Like, I understand you're not going to win every last one of them, but the Lions cannot lose to inferior opponents like that, especially with the whole nation watching when you're trying to keep the division lead. Like, you have a golden opportunity to stay at least 2.5, 3 games up on Minnesota. And Minnesota's more than likely beating Chicago on Monday night because Kirk Cousins is not playing in this game. So they won't have that Monday night Kirk Cousins curse anymore with Dobbs in there. But yeah, this means that next week the Saints has to be a must-win. And the Lions cannot play down to the Saints. Like, if the Lions are expected to dominate them, they have to fucking live up to their potential. Which is something the Lions haven't done the last month. I don't know, I think part of it, though, is because everyone is now game planning and everyone now knows how to play against the Lions. And it clearly showed in the division today. The Green Packers now know how to game plan against Detroit. Especially with how they made Love look like the second coming of Rodgers and Favre. Like, all I have to say is Green Bay literally about to back their way and bullshit their way into a 3rd straight Hall of Fame quarterback after today? God help us all if Love becomes a Hall of Famer. But good God. It's always the fucking Packers that tend to get this lucky. Because the Packers seem to back their way into every other fucking thing in their franchise. And now they're possibly about to back their way into a 3rd straight Hall of Fame quarterback when they don't fucking deserve a 3rd one. Especially since they couldn't get a dynasty with Favre and Rodgers. And, yeah, they don't deserve to have one. But, yeah, make no mistake about this game. The Lions, or how the Lions played, the Lions did not fucking deserve to win this game. They just play like absolute shit. Just the Lions thought they could get lucky again like they did last week against the Bears. In the end, the luck ran out. Not everybody is the Chicago Bears. But I mean, here's the good thing about every Lions loss, though. Every time the Lions have lost the game since last October, November, in the last 2021 games, every time the Lions have lost the game, they won the following game by double digits. So I'd kind of be scared if I was the Saints and JP, because you're going to be facing a very pissed off Lions team next week. Especially with the amount of rest the Lions get to clean some stuff up. And especially since the game against the Saints next week in the Superdome is going to be Dan Campbell's revenge game against his old team. But yeah, just a disappointing loss. But hey, you know, at least the Lions are 8-3 at least. But, you know, still very frustrating and disappointing. Especially since, well, this was Detroit's best shot to end the Thanksgiving losing streak, and they still lost. I don't know. It's just, I think part of the Lions' struggles now on Thanksgiving is that waxing gibbous moon curse. Because someone brought up that since the NFL-AFL merger, the Lions are now 0-13 whenever there's on Thanksgiving when there's a laxus gibbous moon phase. God damn it. Well, if there is such thing as a curse, it's definitely alive and well. At least the Lions are 8-3, though, which is honestly a lot better after Thanksgiving than what the Lions have had in the past. But, you know, still, the Lions need to get their heads out of their ass and play up to their potential. Like, the Lions need to learn that they are not the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. They cannot constantly keep playing down the competition expecting to get lucky every time. Today, their luck ran out. The Lions actually need to fucking play up to their potential the rest of the year. Everybody, for sure. Like, honestly, for this game, to be honest, everyone's to blame for this game. And everyone needs to start living up to their potential. But yeah, anyway, just need some rest and time. You know, you gotta bounce back, though, next week against the Saints. Especially since now the Vikings and Packers are not that far behind in the division race. So now you can't count either of those two teams out of it. Especially since now, Green Bay could potentially be one game out of a playoff spot in the wild card race. But anyway, on to the Saints next week. And facing the Saints. And also, Red Wings and Pistons recap coming out sometime Sunday afternoon. But anyway, though, I'm out. Just another disappointment. The Lions still seem to ruin everyone's holidays. Even when they're good, they still seem to be disappointments on television. Yeah. The one positive I can say from this game is, at least their performance today wasn't as disappointing as Jack Harwell's halftime performance. Especially with how much hype that halftime performance got and it came out like that. Now that's disappointment. But the Lions were just about as equally disappointing.